Hello and welcome. I'm Shivani Singh. Donald Trump is often called a real estate president. He sees the world not through the lens of a traditional diplomacy, but through the balance sheet of a developer. And in his portfolio, there is one property that he has been eyeing for years, a massive, icy, resource-rich island called Greenland. But here is a twist. The US has realized that simply asking Denmark to sell Greenland doesn't work. Copenhagen says no. The Greenlandic government says no. So Washington is changing its strategy. They are moving from B2B, which is business to business, to B2C, business to consumer. The Trump administration is now reportedly mulling a plan to bypass the governments and go straight to the people. The proposal? Direct payments. Financial incentives to sway the 56,000 residents of Greenland to ditch the Danish crown and join the United States. It sounds like something out of a satire, doesn't it? But in the world of transactional diplomacy, it's remarkably logical. Reports suggest that the administration is looking at creating a Greenland fund, and the figure is being floated is a staggering $100 billion. So if you do the math, and Trump loves doing the math, that is nearly $1.7 million for every single person living in Greenland. Of course, the US won't hand over a suitcase of cash to every fisherman in Nuuk. The plan is likely modeled after the Alaska Permanent Fund. In Alaska, every resident gets an annual check, a dividend from the state's oil wealth. And Trump's team wants to tell the Greenlanders, under Denmark, you get subsidies. Under the US, you will get ownership. You get a direct cut of immense wealth buried under your eyes. So now why is Washington so desperate for this icy rock? It isn't about the scenery, it's about the great Arctic scramble. As the ice melts, new shipping routes are opening up. More importantly, Greenland sits on some of the world's largest deposits of rare earth minerals. Rare earth minerals. These are the minerals that you need for your smartphones, your EV batteries, and even your F-35 fighter jets. Currently, China controls the lion's share of this market. For the US, Greenland isn't just land. It's a strategic fortress. It holds the Pituffik space base, formerly known as Thule, which is critical for America's ballistic missile early warning system. With Russia militarizing the Arctic and China calling itself a near Arctic state, Donald Trump wants to lock the door to the north, and he thinks a $100 billion key will do the trick. But let's look at the against column as well, because this isn't just a real estate deal, it's a sovereignty nightmare. Denmark's Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen has famously called the idea of selling Greenland absurd back in 2019. That hasn't changed. Denmark provides Greenland with an annual subsidy of about $600 million. It's a relationship built on centuries of history. And then there are the Greenlanders themselves. They have been moving towards independence, not a change of landlords. Trump's gamble is that money talks. He believes that if the US offers a high enough standard of living, modern infrastructure, advanced healthcare, and fat annual dividend, the local population will eventually hold a referendum to leave Denmark and join the US as a territory or even the 51st state. But can you actually buy a people? Critics in Washington and Copenhagen are calling this checkbook colonialism. They argue that it undermines the international law. If the US can buy Greenland, what stops China from buying an island nation in the Pacific? What stops Russia from incentivizing regions in the Eastern Europe region? It's a dangerous precedent. But Trump doesn't care about precedents. He cares about results. Senator Tom Cotton, a close ally of the president, has argued that Greenland is vital for 21st century national security. To them, $100 billion is a bargain compared to the cost of letting China or Russia dominate the Arctic. So where does that leave us? Greenland is currently an autonomous territory. It has its own parliament and its own prime minister. It is not a commodity to be traded. By putting cash on the table, the Trump administration is forcing a conversation that Copenhagen and Nuuk didn't want to have. They are turning a geopolitical stalemate into a retail pitch. Will the Greenlanders take the deal, or is sovereignty something that even a $100 billion fund cannot buy? The Arctic is heating up, and for once it's not just because of climate change, it's because of the cold, hard cash of real estate diplomacy. Thanks for watching.
For more such videos, subscribe to the Newsx YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.